I'm Adam Booth and you're watching Sporting Icons.
Now, what is it that boxing fans crave more than anything else? Well, competitive fights. That's what we crave more than anything else. Domestic rivalries, all that kind of trimmings, okay? That's what we really crave. But do we get it? At times. But more often than not, we don't. And I don't want to always be looking on boxing for the negatives, okay? I do like to look at what we are getting compared to what we're not getting. But at times, what we're not getting is promoters willing to work with each other. And that seems to be the block of a lot of fights. Certain fighters are signed to certain promotional companies, tied to certain broadcasters, therefore we can't do cross promotions. As a boxing fan, I don't want to hear it. I don't want to see it. And it's been my frustration, and it's been many of your frustrations as well, that, for example, Eddie Hearn, Matchroom, and Frank Warren, Queensberry, don't put on fights together. Or at least not enough, unless it comes to a purse bid and the other one has no choice. And Frank Warren, he's been saying for the longest time, it's not me that's blocking these fights from happening, these cross-promotional fights. It's Eddie Hearn, he's doing that. But then Eddie Hearn saying, it's not me that's blocking fights. I want to make certain fights. It's Frank Warren that's blocking these fights. Now, when Eddie Hearn left Sky Sports, one of the things that I really was hoping for, which was that when Ben Shalom, he took over Boxer and become the lead promoter for Sky Sports Boxing, which is once he builds his stable, reach out to Frank Warren. Frank Warren reach out to Ben Shalom. Frank Warren, show the boxing world, the British boxing public, that you are willing to work with other promoters. You are willing to work with Sky Sports to put on certain fights. You're willing to do it. Because I'm pretty sure if I did a joint podcast with Ben Shalom and Frank Warren together, and I asked Ben Shalom, now you've got your stable, are you willing to do a Boxer versus Queensberry fight night? And I'm pretty sure Ben Shalom would say yes. Even though he didn't have to, okay, he's built up his stable, he's signed 5 of the 10 available Olympians and built this stable and all that kind of stuff, so he didn't have to do it, but I'm pretty sure he would say yes, I'm willing to do that. Ask the same question to Frank. I'm not confident of the answer. And the reason that I say that is because there was an opportunity here, and I've just watched an interview with Frank Warren. It was live on Queensberry, so I've kind of like stopped the live for now to make this video. I'll go back and catch up the rest of it in a bit, which is that Frank Warren was asked about the latest on Joe Joyce versus Joseph Parker. As we know, Joseph Parker, he agreed a deal in principle with Frank Warren, Queensberry, to fight Joe Joyce. Yes, he came up with my trainer, Andy Lee, his wife is having a baby around this kind of time when you want this fight. Can we push it back a little bit? And they went, okay, fine. We'll do that. Then in the meantime, Joseph Parker ended up signing up with Boxer and Sky Sports. Naturally, that's going to irritate Frank Warren. But at the same time, let's be honest about it, Frank Warren has himself to blame in this one as well, because you don't announce a fight unless you've got that pen on that contract. Don't rely on handshakes. This is not old school anymore. Fighters are becoming very wise to things. It's prize fighting. So get that name on that contract. Get it signed. Lesson learned, okay? Now, there's an opportunity here, and again, because Frank Warren said this, that you could have Joe Joyce versus Joseph Parker on a dual broadcast. Sky Sports and BT Sport. Guess what that means? Ben Shalom, Boxer, Frank Warren, Queensberry, BT Sport, Sky Sports working together on this fight. That meant that they could have built up the undercard together. This was an opportunity here to have, in some ways, Queensberry versus Boxer. They could have done this. Frank Warren's response to this, again, he read off the text messages between him and Joseph Parker. His response to that was, Joe Joyce versus Joseph Parker fight can happen, but only if it happens on BT Sport. That's very disappointing for me because, as I said, this was Frank Warren's opportunity to show the boxing world I am willing to work with other promoters. It was Eddie Hearn that isn't willing to work with me. I've just shown you I'm working with Ben Shalom. One of my prize fighters, Joe Joyce, is now going to be fighting on Sky Sports. It's going to be a dual promotion on Sky Sports and BT Sport. If they can't do a dual promotion, okay, Joe Joyce, he's been offered £1.2 million. It's very good money. Joe Joyce we will allow him to go over to Sky Sports to fight Joseph Parker. I'm very confident in my man, but we've worked out a deal, a compromise. Joe Joyce will fight Parker on Sky Sports. In return, on BT Sport, we'll host the winner of that fight against maybe the winner of Hughie Fury, Michael Hunter. There's compromises. There's ways around it. Now I'm not saying there has to be that particular order. Of course not. It could be anything. Different weight classes, whatever. But we're willing to work together. But he ain't willing to work with them. Is it because he's allowed personal feelings to get in the way? Because obviously he feels slighted by Joseph Parker because he had a deal in principle, a handshake. And yes, of course, a handshake means a lot to Frank Warren. He's old school. He is. But Joseph Parker's not old school. He don't care about that. Boxer Sky Sports showed me the money. That's where I'm going. But don't make business decisions based on personal feelings. Maybe you feel slighted by Ben Shalom because maybe you feel that, well, they must have known that we had a deal with Joseph Parker and Joe Joyce. Why did he jump in? Why not wait until after the fight? Why did Joseph Parker not fight Joe Joyce and then afterwards go sign with Boxer with Sky Sports? I understand all the arguments, but work together. Just work together. Because I wonder if it's possible to do a podcast with Ben Shalom and Frank Warren, and I'm sure some other YouTuber out there, far bigger than I am, will probably go, oh, that's a good idea. Let's steal that idea. But I would love that. I would love that. And because for me, how I see it currently, okay, Boxer, they're very, very new. They're just building their stable. Frank Warren, Queensbury, listen, they don't have the kind of budget that Matchroom have. We can see that. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm sure money's available if and when needed, but they don't have the stable that Matchroom has. A lot of fighters have left Queensbury to go to, whether it be Matchroom, whether it be to Probellum, whatever it may be, okay? So in the meantime, work together. You put your stables against each other. Make fights together. Understandably, Frank Warren's job is to promote fights for BT Sport. Understandably. Ben Shalom's job is to promote fights for Sky Sports. Understandably. It's competition, there's rivalry. Nothing wrong with that. But sometimes you can have that rivalry in a friendly way by hosting the odd fight night. What's wrong with 3 times a year hosting Boxer vs Queensbury? That would get fans so interested. It really would. It really, really would. And listen, Frank, if you're listening to this right now, get my number off Matt. Give me a call. Okay, because things need to be sorted out. From a boxing fan's perspective, it's very disappointing where I'm hearing fights can only happen if they happen on BT Sport with your fighters. I'm not happy about that. I don't like that. Maybe there's a reason for it. Maybe Joe Joyce is contractually obliged to fight on BT Sport. Maybe his contract states that he cannot and he's not allowed to fight on another network. I don't know. Anyway, that's my thoughts. You drop me yours, click thumbs up, subscribe. Catch you next video.